Previously, in X-Men, after a surprise move by her parents, Kitty Pryde is pulled out of Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters and enrolled against her will in a new school. While getting oriented in her new academic surroundings, Kitty's chaperone, X-Men leader Storm, is ambushed by Emma Frost, and their bodies are swapped. Comics. Will Emma Frost, the White Queen, infiltrate the X-Men now inside Ororo's body with all of her powers? And how will Kitty deal with the face of her enemy, actually saying she's one of her dearest friends? I am Jason Lapidus.
And I'm confused.
And we are Group of Seven Comics. Welcome to our never-ending Tuesday night live stream read-through of the X-Men comics that made it a classic, as we read Uncanny X-Men 152 or Classic X-Men 56, cover date of December 1981. How are you today, Chris?
I'm good. Thanks, man. Thanks for asking. I'm good. This is an issue.
I have no choice but to ask. It's in the contract.
Well, I mean, it was a good contract that we started about asking each other how we are doing. We're doing well. You're doing well?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Just
comics. We got comics going on. We got fun little comic activities going on.
Yes, it's tons of time at the board and at my monitor, just drawing and coloring and modifying old images for new purposes.
Yeah.
A lot of taking figures out of their background and like going over all the edges and separating, creating new layers where there weren't layers, from going from analog images, making them into usable digital images that are repurposed for other promotional things. So it's been a squinty up close.
Yeah, it's been, since December when we put together that Hunter's Moon comic and then moved into this fun project. It's been nice. It's been always something on the go for the past 8 weeks or so.
Sure. So what project are you referring to?
I'm referring to the collectible card set that is being published by Raid Studios here in the Toronto, Southwestern Ontario area. That is featuring a whole bunch of Canadian creators and their intellectual property, their comics, as a way to promote and get the word out about a whole bunch of really great Canadian creators and comics, including a whole bunch of people including us, including a bunch of folks from the Raid Studios, our friends Brendan and Troy from Pegamoose Press out of the East Coast of Canada, Lethal Comics, Andy
Montreal,
from Montreal, a few others. I'm sure I'm getting some, but the Kickstarter is open for pre-launch right now. You can take a look at the link tree in our bio. It'll send you right there. You can sign up for the pre-launch. 100 cards to celebrate or to recognize or to be part of a 100 day of or 100 event of Kickstarter or something along those lines.
It's a lot to try and describe.
It is.
I mean, from our point of view, we're making 7 cards.
We're making 7 cards, yeah.
And it's really fun to kind of put together those elements
because we're a group of 7, and every people like when we did 6 issues of the first trade, people were like the 7th issue. I'm like, nope, that's something else. So 7 cards coming your way, people. We're excited.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see this set. And I'm really enjoying repurposing some of our images for cards. It's a lot of fun, as you and I are both sports cards and Marvel cards kids. Yeah. So, the first run of Marvel cards, I don't even remember who made them, but it was so hard to get them all for me. And I remember going to comic stores and buying single cards to like finish off my set. Oh, wow. And the set that I collected is just before they became popular. Okay. And they're kind of worthless. Sure. But I have the whole thing, and I really enjoyed collecting them. A lot of them were like John Byrne drawings repurposed. And
it's
the printing
is
bad.
I tell you one thing that I never thought I would be a part of, certainly for our own comic creations, is going through their power levels and attributes. As a fun exercise, ranking their various attributes was a complete blast. So anyway, look for that. It launches, I think, in about 10 days or so. So just pay attention to our socials. We'll get the news out, and just happy to be part of it.
Super cool. I can't wait to see them. and have them at our table at the next bunch of events that we get to go to. Should be a lot of fun. Just say hey to Gary Shipman. Thanks for being here tonight, and I hope you're doing well out there in the world. I'm always glad when there's someone here for us to talk with or talk toward, and happy to share everyone else's experience with X-Men, a comic book franchise that we love so much. I found with reading this one, maybe before we get into it, do you want to talk Mando for a minute?
Oh,
did you watch?
Yeah, I watched.
Hey, Trevor, how are you doing? Yeah, the new Mandalorian season 3 trailer dropped last night. And do you have any quick thoughts?
Well, Appa's in it, which is great to see.
Yes, Angry Appa.
Angry Appa.
Paul Sun-Hyung Lee himself.
Toronto's own.
Yeah, we get to claim him because he lives here now.
Yes,
and he's lived here for a long time.
Yes,
but I believe he's a Calgary kid.
Okay. I mean, hey, in the heart of every Calgary kid is a kid who wants to be from Toronto. So that's... Oh, I shouldn't... Okay.
I don't know if I stand by that joke of a statement. I know you're only kidding. I know.
There you go.
But he's it's really exciting to see him.
Yeah, and we get to have live action on Mandalore. That's wow.
Yeah.
That's something else.
Yeah, especially if you've watched, if you've had your dose of Clone Wars and Rebels. The shows take us to Mandalore a few times, and getting to see the destruction. There was that one shot that they showed in the trailer was like, oh, I kind of know when this happened ish. And it's pretty dramatic to see a planet and a society in ruins, and know that it's like at the very core of this guy, this protagonist. So really neat to see.
Yeah.
So many fun things. Trevor says the trailer dropped, as did the Buccaneers.
They sure did, Trev. Sure did.
Speaking of Buccaneers, you're going to show your pirate hat?
Oh, sure. Here we go.
A Buccaneer is not necessarily a pirate.
No, it's not there.
But a Buccaneer is a pirate. A Buccaneer
is like every pirate a Buccaneer.
Well, what is a Buccaneer? Okay, like this is ruining.
Someone like this. Arr, arr. So my son and I have these, and the whole night we're just that great Simpsons where it's the Halloween special where they have the King Kong episode, and Mr. Burns says, "Oh, you'll be a nice change from what these uncouth sailors." It's just two guys, but R R R R. So that's what my 11-year-old son and I are doing on the couch most nights to each other in these hats. There you go.
What's the price of corn? Buccaneer. Ooh, good dad joke.
There you go.
Buccaneer. I gotcha.
I'm going to a pirate-themed party. That's why I have that.
Very cool. I hope you enjoy your pirate-themed party.
I hope I do too.
Before we digress any further, Mando, good. That's aside. And did you watch Bad Batch?
I have watched Bad Batch, yeah.
I enjoyed the episode 3, the second drop that we got.
We didn't talk about it.
No, we haven't talked about it, but it's my favorite episode of the 3 so far. Thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, and it brings back an old favorite. And
yeah.
Again, the stories, I mean, you never thought that when they went down that route with the Clone Wars and the clones as characters and the clones as in the end, the clones as people, basically. You never thought that you'd care so much about what happens to them as disposable fodder for war.
Right.
Pretty much.
But once you name them,
that's the real trick. But then to have an existence beyond, where the Empire has moved to basically conscription service, and they're not using clones anymore. They're using other troopers. And what happens to these people as they get phased out as kind of old tech, basically. Anyway, it's
neat.
Heartbreaking.
So I'm reading today's issue in this format. I do not own this one. I believe there is a copy of 152 at my local store, and it might just be priced too high for me to just go snag it because I don't love it. Like it's not a.
You don't love this issue? That's surprising.
Well, no, listen,
it's really good.
I actually do like this issue.
Okay,
but it isn't, part of a sweet spot that I feel I just like. I don't covet the original. I do want to have the whole Chris Claremont run, as you shake your head. I do want to have all.
That's cool. That's cool.
And and I'm probably 3/4 of the way through in terms of owning all of it. But there's a certain point where this issue is not worth it for me to go out and buy the original.
Yeah.
So I have to go back and see. I don't want to rush and get it for tonight, but I'll probably be there tomorrow. If it's under a certain amount,
dollar bin kind of thing.
No.
No.
It's under it's behind the counter in a stack of X-Men from this block. And this is my theory. So the guy who manages the store often listens to our show, and he knows I'm a mark for this batch of X-Men comics.
If you listen to this one, charge this guy as much as because it's terrible.
He's a super nice guy. He also doesn't set the prices. He's not the owner. He's the manager.
Fair enough.
So I feel like he brought in these comics just to tempt me, and I tease him about it, that he's just he's making my life difficult. But if it's under a certain amount, I'll get it. If it's over that amount,
hey, if you get the issues, the Anti-Men, sign me up. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey man,
sign me up.
First dibs on those, the Cochran ones, those original run. I'll definitely get
Croker.
So I'm reading it in volume 3. And how are you reading this today?
Reading it majesty of a little box here called DVD-ROM. Here we go. All 485 complete printable comics. Really cool, actually, because these are scans of the original comics. They have not been touched up. They have not been adjusted in any way. You get to see the staple marks, which is kind of neat. But again, reading as close as possible to the original medium, but updated to the early aughts. Sort of about 20 years,
right?
But still very handy.
It says, and you remind me every week, that they're printable. I'm really tempted to print one.
Yeah,
and just to see how it looks.
Yeah, printed. And it's right there, printable comics. So I think it's part of the appeal, I guess. So I imagine
I have printed one page and a cover of Avengers #4 from Cap's first appearance in the Silver Age.
How'd that look?
Let me take that back. Just Cap's first. He had a couple appearances, but the first Avengers he's in, I'll put it that way.
Okay.
And I printed them at full size, 11 by 17-ish, or probably by that point they're about 10 by 15. And they were a little pixelated, so I wonder at the reduced size how it would print as a comic book. And if I trimmed it, it would kind of neat to have sort of a couple custom comics of that era. Cool. So I'm tempted. I might bug you to send me a couple of the PDFs from.
This is yours, so I could send it to you.
I would ask. I would ask nicely, but we'll get there. I saw this cover in person, like I said, at my local, and I did not know the context for it. And I was like, what is with Storm? I had no idea that Storm is in the body of Emma Frost, the White Queen, wearing a black bathing suit in this and sash.
Leotard.
And I had no idea that the White Queen was in the body of Storm. And that's why she'd be wearing this, slightly provocative or very provocative White Queen outfit. But it did not. I was perplexed by it when I saw it. And it looks like Emma Frost has some pretty bad sunburn. Like Emma Frost's body. Has some bad sunburn. It's very pinky.
And she's got a gun, but it's not a gun. It's a transmutator conscious thingy.
We know in the last issue that Emma Frost ambushes Ororo, and transfers each other's consciousness into the other's body, and they both bodies keep their power set. So
that's interesting.
Now that Ororo is in the White Queen's body, she has the White Queen's telepathy, and now that the White Queen is in Ororo's body, she has Ororo's weather manipulation abilities, and they both don't. They're not experts at using the power set, and so it's kind of a neat juxtaposition in that sense. I know I was talking about the kind of weird racial implications of it, just with this aristocratic upper crust white woman taking possession of this black woman's body. It's loaded in some interesting ways.
It is, and I almost was expecting them, the creative team, because it's loaded, to go to a certain space and maybe bring up some old stereotypes and things, but they don't really. They almost
they do not.
They stick to it's the powers being the thing.
Yes, it is about the plot.
I was
not
half
about
expecting
culture.
to read some things and be like just groan out loud, but
right.
I didn't groan because of that. I groan just because of overall storylines. But yeah.
Also, Emma Frost's hair colored white it makes it weirder because I didn't know who it was when I saw that.
Oh,
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was Emma Frost.
Sure.
But there you go. And that the tangle of figures in the air. It is strange.
It is.
And it is erotic. I was commenting to you about what as to what the title of this episode today should be, and make it about certain maneuvers, but I refrained. Yeah. I also just want to make note of the beginning, September 12th on NBC, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and that was an absolutely pivotal thing for me as a kid, was seeing Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
That's
on
the one
NBC.
Firestar and Iceman, right?
Of course, they are his amazing friends
as his roommates.
Yes. Yes, and Firestar's dog, Ms. Lyons.
Ms. Lyons?
Is it Miss Lion or Ms. Lyons? I don't know. Maybe Miss Lion or Ms. Lion. She has a little dog who just has some personality. Pretty sure she's related to Schnarf.
We haven't seen the cosplay yet, have we? Have we seen the cosplay?
Of Miss Lion?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, one thing. Look at the corner box, okay? Wolverine's grumpy, right?
Yes.
And... Colossus is happy.
Yep.
Ororo's happy.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler's happy.
Yeah.
Cyclops is stern.
Yeah. Stoic.
And Kitty is sad.
Sad Kitty.
It's weird.
It is weird. But again, this current creative. This is a Cockrum cover.
No, this is a Bob McLeod cover.
It's a Bob McLeod, and Bob McLeod does the interiors.
Bob McLeod does the interiors. And last issue we had Bob McLeod and Jim Sherman. And
yes.
I have it's not confidence. I have a false sense that I can tell which ones are, which drawings are McLeod and which ones are Sherman.
Right.
And this issue just reinforces that for me, that I was kind of, that my suspicions were correct, because a lot of these panels are really nicely drawn. I find McLeod, he's pretty clear. I think a lot of his figure work is really good. I don't really enjoy his smaller figures as much, but his medium size to larger figures I think are excellent.
Okay.
And I can see how, if you are a guy like Claremont, or if you are a fan of people like Cockrum is kind of like the template that you're actually going from, like that. So again, after all these interviews that I've been reading and listening to with Chris Claremont, he really doesn't go out of his way to say anything nice about John Byrne, but he goes out of his way to say good things about Dave Cockrum. I think that's because his collaboration with Cockrum was a smoother one. Right. And Cockrum was not getting any shine or any support, or
I was going to say
that Byrne
right. There's it's not a dual, right? I mean, that Claremont Byrne run, they end up being everything almost.
Right.
And this is clearly he is the steering the ship, and Cockrum is along for the ride.
And Cockrum I think was just an easier collaborator. So I think if Cockrum is the thing that is your kind of baseline, Bob McLeod fits in really nicely as another penciler who fits in that school.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't seem to clash with the Dave Cockrum style. It seems to be adjacent to and relatively complementary with it, and goes with the Rubinstein inking as well. Whereas Byrne stuff is just it's another level. But this stuff seems to match pretty well. So I can see why one would easily substitute Bob McLeod for Cockrum, which also connects to what we were saying last week about it being kind of like a tryout. So we know that they're discussing getting a second X-Men title going and looking for a new artist, right? Claremont's going to still write it. Louise Simonson's still going to edit it, eventually take over the writing. But Claremont's going to start it up, and he's looking for another collaborator who he enjoys working with. And McLeod is his man. So there you go.
There you go. Good.
All right. Let's start this one up.
Let's dive into this thing.
Issue 152, The Hellfire Gambit.
And again, this we have now in this current, again, creative run, it's bringing back so many. We've done the Magneto issues. We had a little bit of Sentinels last issue. We've got Hellfire. So again, all those antagonists, all those big key antagonists that we went through with the Claremont Burn run have all come back again pretty quickly.
We're getting there.
Another taste.
Yeah, it's like a new season of a TV show, right? You want to see each year. You want to have an episode where they fight. You know, there's got to be your Treehouse of Horrors. There's got to be your Sideshow Bob. Come back to kill Bart.
Right.
Like each, it's all the same tropes coming back.
Exactly.
One just quick art note. Really good drawing of a car.
Yeah.
And if you take away the speed lines, because this is usually done by reference, you take away the speed lines, and this is a drawing that is not a car that's moving, but a couple of really great cartoonists can show you how to make a car look like it's moving even without speed lines. And rule number 1 is take a couple of those tires off the road. When you lift a car up, it really looks like it's going. And even though it's not realistic that a car is in midair, it adds to the cartooniness of it, like jumping and being a little out of control. You get a couple of those wheels up, and you can also start to bend the frame to give it a little bit of animation, a little bit of life. But anyway, we're gonna give it some narration here, thanks to Chris Claremont, and again, like really clear penciling and really clear color choices. Like everything, each of the pieces in the landscape like stands out from one another, even though it's a rainstorm. I can really see what's going on, and clarity is the one of the keys to communication. And I just find this to be really clear.
Yeah,
whether I love his style or not.
I feel like if you were a kid and you picked up this issue from your spinner rack, and this is a wonderful splash page for you.
Yeah,
full of action, cars racing, Storm in the background raging, and then Storm the character using your. This is a great splash page.
I think so too. To all appearances, this is Storm, leader of the Uncanny X-Men, a team of mutant superheroes attacking a car on a lonely, winding country road in upstate New York. But appearances can be deceiving. This is not truly Storm. Any more than the woman driving the car is her bitter enemy, Emma Frost, the White Queen of the infamous Hellfire Club. Love it. I will read Emma Frost as Storm.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, I will read.
Go for it.
Finding their getaway car after I'd been informed of Ororo's and the girl's escape was no problem. Stopping it, especially without harming the occupants, is. Ororo is driving like a maniac, and my control over her elemental powers is less than absolute. Really awkward leg position.
Yes.
But this, again, is, I guess, a way to communicate that she isn't really astute at using her powers. Do you know what I mean? Like she's moving, but not that great at it.
Yeah.
And David Cutler is here. Hey, guys, here at last. I hate to miss the preamble. David, we hate when you miss the preamble, and we've deducted marks from your final score.
But I wore a pirate hat. It happened. It's on the stream. When this is over, go back, check it
out. Glad you're here, David. Hope you're well, for sure. Inside the car, Kitty Pryde, the youngest, newest X-Man, slowly wakes. She has a terrific headache, legacy of that sonic bolt that knocked her unconscious seconds before. That was in last issue. Really weird face on Kitty Pryde, like waking up.
Yeah.
Almost Archie comics.
Yeah, Jugheady.
Yeah, and hard to make her look young. And like McLeod seems to be back and forth with getting her face not a round enough structure. Like she's too long in the face, which gives her a bit of a female wrestler. Took too many steroids, kind of skull shape. Instead of that round face. Like you just think about like Bruce Timm drawing women, his Batgirl.
Yeah.
Or his Harlequin, and you're like, oh, I got to get that round shape with the cheeks to really represent youth. Makes a huge difference. But anyway, there she is. One look reveals her situation. She believes she's in the clutches of a ruthless, deadly foe. She acts accordingly by phasing through the body of the car in an instinctive bid for freedom.
You!
Kitten, what are you doing? Under normal circumstances, a sensible, logical response.
Yikes!
Tragically, these circumstances are far from normal. Like, kind of funny to see her halfway sticking out a car, you know?
It is. It's actually, yeah, it's a fun visual gag. Also, it's fun playing with her power set that, you know, she's kind of in, she's out, she's in, she's out. It's agreed. It's fun to play around with.
Totally. Come back here before you, goddess. She made her entire body ephemeral. My hand passes right through her. As Miss Frost lunges for her passenger, the car suddenly hydroplanes on the rain-slick highway. No!
Cripes!
And before the Wind Rider's horrified eyes, spins off the road. And there you see, like, you get that car, you know, get those wheels off, and looks like it's really moving every time. Pretty crazy. Yeah, it's exciting.
At this point, it's going to turn to one of those cars from Mask.
That would be awesome. I, again, really
Mobile Armored Strike Command.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, Mobile Armored Strike Command, yeah.
Command with a K?
Yeah, Command with a K, because kids can spell it.
I love it. Great job by the colorist here, separating these panels, like doing that kind of DeLuca effect, you know, from one panel to the next. But having the backgrounds be different, it again just sells that. Like, each of those background colors works as a background, but change it up. Like, let's move through it. Let's have some variety on the page. You know, it really adds to the overall aesthetics of it. So, and then having things go not only down but also closer to the reader, just really good storytelling. It's excellent. Despite her fear, Kitty remembers her training and stays intangible so that her fall does not harm her. The car and the woman driving it aren't quite so lucky. And I love that little storm body, like, you know, getting kind of trying to struggle with her powers. And yeah, it's good looking. I'm into it. The gas tank exploded. I was too close. I've been caught in the fireball. I'm burning. Yikes. What should I do? I've got to get away. A wind. I'll summon a wind to blow me to safety. Like, again, like, good looking faces.
Yeah, this is good action. This is good action.
He should draw New Mutants. Her need, hyped by pain, as much imagined as real. I've never heard this word before. Atavistic? You know that word?
No.
Cool. And atavistic terror, she reaches out with her mind and, in a split second, warps local weather patterns sufficiently to generate whoosh, a jet stream, a blast of superfast air that scoops her up and whirls her helplessly away. That's cool.
Atavistic, relating to or characterized by reversion to something ancient or ancestral. Like atavistic fears and instincts.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you use it in a sentence in your real life?
Today.
I'm just joking. Never mind.
Okay.
When I wore my pirate hat.
Right. It was an atavistic sense of my ancestral pirate heritage. Arr, arr, arr.
All right, you're up.
All right, here we go. Storm? That was Storm? She must have been trying to rescue me. Way to go, Storm. But what's wrong with her? When that wind hit, she acted like she didn't know what was happening. Uh-oh, I may have landed in one piece, but if I want to stay that way, I better not relax my concentration until I've pulled myself free of these trees and rocks. I wonder what would happen if I solidified inside something. Could I even do it? I think I'd rather not know. My head. Last time I felt this awful was when I got beamed by a line drive in Little League.
Now we get a 6-panel recap of what happened in the previous issue, and that's cool. And we actually get a recap of a panel we just read where she's facing
the page before. In case
that's. Wow. But I do like, you know, this idea that Ororo takes her to the school and she's brokenhearted. Like, Ororo is her chaperone and chauffeur. Like, you know, gives her the lift in the rolls. And then only to discover that the White Queen is the headmistress, and that then the White Queen in, like, her undergarments, basically, like in her, you know.
It's like a slip.
It's like a slip, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a garment that goes under a dress of some kind. Enters into her room in a less than perfect state. She's pretty disoriented, and by accident uses her telepathy to knock Kitty Pryde out. Because, of course, as we've said, Storm does not know how to use Emma Frost's powers.
No.
It's a new experience for her. So no surprise that any kind of stress might trigger a psionic attack, which is why I like stress. I just want it to trigger my psionic attack on somebody else. But it would probably be, unfortunately, a family member. Who earns to that?
Should we move ahead then as we have
Please
recapped those panels? Okay. The recap of the recap. But what am I doing here? Wherever here is, where was the White Queen taking me? And why would the resources of the Hellfire Club at her command transport me, herself, in a dinky little sports car? That sound, an explosion. Wow, that wind of storm scattered burning gasoline all over the place. It started a forest fire. There's nothing I can do to put it out. I better make tracks and climb to high ground so I can signal Storm when she comes back.
But as Kitty turns to leave...
Miss Frost! She must have been thrown out of the car, too. She's lying on the edge of the fire. If I don't pull her away from there fast, she'll probably die. So what? She probably deserves it. She's a crook. She'd do anything to harm the X-Men. Why should I risk my life for her? Yeah, but I'm supposed to be a hero. I'm supposed to be better than her. But if I save her, she could use her telepathic powers to take me prisoner again and maybe capture Ororo as well. What should I do? The fire's getting worse. One way or the other, I've got to decide now.
I like this bit of her trying to figure out what's what. Again, it's a kid's comic.
It's a kid's comic.
And she's not sure what to do. And I think the tension for her is being communicated. I think it reads well. Those big eyes, poor Kitty.
Yeah, and
not an easy situation.
You get the, what would a hero do, right? What would a good do? Yeah.
She's a good kid. Much later, a weary Wind Rider returns to the X-Men's venerable mansion. I wonder, by the way, what it's like having to, sort of fly your first time and navigate. It's one thing to know the roads. It's another thing to know things from an aerial point of view, and to make your way through New York State from the air. Do you find, by the way, when you're in an airplane, that you're able to kind of orient yourself when you're not far from the GTA, or do you find it's difficult?
I find things recognizable. I find landmarks and things, infrastructure, highway patterns that are familiar to me.
So you think you could fly, huh? You think you could make your way around North America as a flyer? You're so full of yourself.
Yeah, I think so. I've never done it except when I did do it. I was in the back seat, so I wasn't really flying.
There you go. On Gray Malkin Lane, outside the suburban New York City township of Salem Center, she is in a foul mood as she enters Ororo's attic apartment. If there is a Hades, Ororo, I pray you rot in it forever. And she throws down her awesome, cool cape that Cockrum designed that I still don't know how it makes sense. Do you want to do shot today?
Sure, I'll do shot today. I gather, my pet, that things do not go well.
The man is Sebastian Shaw, a self-made billionaire. Ugh. Mutant villain of the First Order. The car crashed. I panicked, lost control of Ororo's powers, was blown miles away by a rogue wind. When I returned, the forest was a blazing inferno. The car melted slag. I searched for any sign of Ororo and the brat without success. My body is gone, Sebastian. I'm trapped in this one.
Not so, Emma. You use that Persona exchange gun, the one on the front cover that she's throwing down right now, to switch your consciousness with Storms, so that you could then infiltrate the X-Men and destroy them from within. The device functions.
No, sorry. I was going to say I didn't notice in the panel before that she's pulling it out of her boot, right? The thigh of her boot.
Yes.
So that's where that gun was, because
everyone holsters their Persona exchange guns.
Yes.
The device functioned perfectly. If you wish, the process could be repeated with someone else. True, you're no longer a telepath, but you still possess beauty, youth, the power of a goddess. You ask me, I think Ororo would make an exquisite white queen.
I love how you're slipping into Ron Burgundy as you're doing this, which is exactly what he needs in a reading, and
He
exactly
does.
what Will Ferrell was going for when he would read as Ron Burgundy. Meanwhile, upstate.
Remember, you try to use your psi powers and I'll run. You can stay here and starve or be eaten by wolves. I won't care.
I won't harm you, kitten.
Don't call me that. You haven't the right.
Why won't you believe me?
Why should I?
Kitty, I am Ororo. The White Queen ambushed me at her school and used a special gun that she got from we don't even know where, and it hides in her boot, and just it's a zap of a gun. I guess you can get it at Costco. A special gun to switch our minds. She inhabits my body. I am in hers.
Prove it.
Ask me any question. Things only I, Ororo, would know.
You're a telepath. You read thoughts. You could have learned the answers a year ago and Storm was your prisoner. Or you could pull them from my head now.
That's a good point. By the way, great face on Emma Frost here. Like, good drawing, good drawing. Very well, then. I can't establish my bona fides. Help me in spite of that.
Fat chance.
Kitty, the Hellfire Club plans an all-out assault on the X-Men tonight. It may already be underway. If you don't cooperate with me, your friends may be hurt, or killed, or worse. Can you afford to take that risk?
How can I be sure?
Little one, in this life, nothing is sure.
All right. You've made your point. I'll untie you.
No need. I was slipping out of tighter bonds than this before you were born.
Ororo taught me that knot. She said it was foolproof for anyone but her. Yet Miss Frost untied it easily. Maybe she is telling the truth. I'll go along with her, but I won't trust her. As far as I'm concerned, she's guilty till proven innocent.
Okay, the eyes might be a little bit big here.
Big eyes.
So just be consistent. That's all we're asking. If you're going to go big-eyed, that's okay. Just, I got to look at this ad.
Superstar
Smurfs,
Saturday.
yeah.
Yeah, Smurfs.
The new, the Kid Superpower Hour with Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Kid. What is the Kid?
Space Stars.
Yeah, I want to watch that. I don't even know what it is. But, of course, I see Space Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Spidey and his amazing friends.
Yep.
Oh, man. It was so good. Saturday mornings. My goodness.
And now.
All right.
Exactly.
In their mansion, Kitty's fellow X-Men, their powers neutralized by inhibitor manacles, take stock of their situation. Now, I just want to say how much I hate the willy-nilly use of power inhibitors.
Sure.
And any villain can get them at any time. Any hero get like police. I have no idea how they work. It doesn't make sense to me that they work at all anyway. Mm-hmm. But it's just so, I don't know. It's such a plot device to just have them at convenience, you know?
It is. And I think the other thing about this particular issue, so normally there's a bit of a context whenever we kind of like this happened all last issue where they were defeated by the Hellfire Club. But I had actually forgotten that when I got back to this issue, and I'm like, oh, where are the X-Men? Why is Storm and Sebastian Shaw in the mansion like all by themselves? And normally there is a panel or two or an explanation note, see last issue, but it wasn't in this one, which I thought was interesting because if you came to this cold, what the hell happened? Right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I also Cyclops is wearing his mask again.
Yeah, they have the tech to, get these X-Men restrained. I also love how they put them comfortably on a couch.
They do.
Like, wouldn't you throw them, in a cellar or at the bottom of the stairs or in a corner? But no, like, I'm gonna sit you guys nicely on a couch together.
That's right. And more Lady Goons, by the way, Lady Pawns, who we were introduced to last issue. You can see there's two there in that first panel. based on their hair and their waists and things. And so that was a surprise too. We're the lady pawns. We weren't expecting.
Okay.
It's true though.
You're up.
Okay. It has been hours since they defeated us. Why are they keeping us here?
Who knows, Colossus? Maybe they were busy getting rid of Sentinels we trashed.
They wouldn't have beaten us at all, Wolverine, had it not been for Storm. Why did she turn on us?
Why not ask the lady herself, Nightcrawler?
Storm? She is dressed as a White Queen. I don't believe it.
Why, Nightcrawler? The path of righteousness and virtue was becoming a frightful bore.
Ooh.
I merely decided the time was ripe to learn how the other half lives. And you know what, my friends? I like it.
That's a crock, lady. Urgh!
You're a big mouth, Wolverine. It's time someone taught you proper manners. And Harry Leland needs to say his name so readers know who he is.
That's right.
So he speaks of himself in the third person. And Harry Leland is just the man to do... Oh, my... I don't know what part of the body I'm going to call it. It's a kid's comic, but oh, it hurts.
You and who else, Tubbo?
Hey, what's the nickname for that part of the body?
Groin?
Like his fat balls. Like it's like a... I don't know, like the part under the waist that's just a huge round thing of just
lower stomach.
It's like it's the opposite of a muffin top.
Right.
It's just like a yeasty expanse of, I don't
right
even know.
In the yeasty expanse. You got him right in the yeasty expanse. Hey, since you asked, Shorty, us. It's been a while since we met beneath the Hellfire Club, fella. You cut me and my men up pretty good. You might have died. But we didn't. So now we got powers and strength to match your own. And tonight, we're going to use them to pay you back for what you did with interest. So I originally thought this was a color mistake.
Right.
Right? With the reversed red and blue on these two fellas. But it turns out it wasn't. But I thought it was.
Yeah, they're using the amazing cartooning colorist to signal to us that these aren't the normal pawns.
No.
These guys are special in some way.
Special guys.
Yeah. Trevor's like,
fetch the comfy chair.
Storm, Shaw, you must put an end to this in the name of humanity.
What an odd request, Professor. Especially since it concerns Wolverine, who knows nothing of humanity. Forget him, X-Men. His fate is sealed. As for the rest of you, as soon as my technos have finished looting Xavier's databanks, you'll all be transported to a Hellfire Club installation where you'll be our guests for the rest of your natural lives. Klotoe Hesha, his mate thinks us helpless, but we are not. We possess an asset you are completely unaware of. My friend, my lady friend, Amanda.
I think the audience is also unaware that that she's an asset. I know we've heard that her mother is a famous witch and that she has some witchy powers.
Yes.
But we haven't yet seen her use these witchy powers in meaningful ways.
No. Not yet.
You and I have talked about, by the way, we've talked about having like a, one or two panel comic, kind of like the day after, like the things that we read that really leave an impression with us, that we like the adventure we don't get to see, whether it's Wolverine and that leprechaun, which is one that I actually did draw like really quickly as a joke, or other stories that we would love to see like outside of these things. I want to see the story of the day, maybe months later or whatever it takes, when Harry Leland finally finds his testicles again.
Oh,
they're back!
Oh, little friends.
Or like the long odyssey that his testicles that go on to make their way back to their natural habitat.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, sorry. I digress. Meanwhile, on Grey Malkin Lane, a Saab Turbo driven by Kitty's dance teacher and Aurora's
A
friend,
Swedish car driven by
Stevie Hunter, cruises slowly past the mansion's driveway. Do you want to read, Stevie?
Sure. The gate's closed and locked. There's no sign of anyone about.
They're here. Take my word for it. I'm picking up thought patterns. A squad of mercenaries. Keep going, Stevie. They're watching us.
I can't see anything, you guys.
It's funny, her head sticking out. Kitty! Yeah. Now, here is a panel that would not be in another comic today.
No.
We've got, Ororo, but in the body of the White Queen. Her hand down the back of Kitty's shorts. Now, I realize it's holding onto the waistband as a way to kind of pull her back in. And there is nothing inappropriate about it whatsoever in this context. But in 2023, teacher don't get to put a hand down the back of students' pants.
No.
Trevor says that Shaw's got a J. Peterman voice kind of going, from Seinfeld. J. Peterman, the catalog.
I don't know.
Oh, you're not steeped in Seinfeld, are you?
I'm not steeped in Seinfeld.
Well, then you keep doing what you're doing, and one day you'll watch and you'll get
my
there.
life. Yeah.
Are you insane, child? Phasing through the door like that? Why not simply announce your presence at the top of your lungs or shoot off flares? We're outnumbered and outgunned, Kitty. Our only hope is to take them completely by surprise.
I'm sorry. I didn't think.
No, you didn't. You're an X-Men, young lady. If you want to survive, you'd better start acting like one.
Phew. That's a storm if I ever heard one. No one can be that good of an actress. I'm beginning to believe her.
Little does Kitty know that it was actually me, Jason.
Jason Lapidus.
It wasn't actually Storm.
No.
A mile down the road, on the fringes of Xavier's sprawling estate, Stevie cuts cross country toward the lake. Stop here, Stevie. This is as far as you go. And thank you for answering my call for help and driving upstate to pick us up.
When a voice pops into your head and says, come a-running, it's kind of hard to ignore it.
If you've heard no word from the X-Men by sunrise, contact Charles's associate, Moira McTaggart, and tell her everything I've told you. She'll handle things from that point on.
I hope it won't come to that.
So do I.
Bye, Stevie. Thanks for standing by us. Frankly, kiddo, your life scares the beans out of me. But you're friends, and I stand by those I love, no matter what.
Kitty's feelings are as strong for Stevie as for me. Stevie is an extraordinary person. I'm proud to call her a friend. Yet I'm still jealous of that bond between them. It seems so petty that Storm keeps coming back to this.
It's very strange. It has never been fully explained.
Well, maybe one day.
Maybe we'll get lucky.
We'll learn more. Possessing Emma Frost's telepathic talent and being able to sense their thoughts and emotions only makes things worse. It's unfair to Stevie, unworthy of me, yet I cannot help myself. I've come to think of Kitty as my own child, and I resent having to share her. Stevie watches them disappear into the fog that enshrouds the woods. But as she turns to leave...
What the? My car! Surprise, surprise. Whom have we here?
Sebastian Shaw meets Stevie Hunter, a friend of the X-Men's. You're a long way from home, darling. If you know what's good for you, I suggest you tell us what you're doing here. While in the danger room...
Felt that, did you, punk? Good. We've been rebuilding your image, Wolverine, with bionic limbs capable of punching through armor plate. Your bones may be laced with adamantium, making them virtually unbreakable, but even you, hey!
Cole, you talk too flamin' much. I don't need my claws to ice you, Leland, or your testes.
And I do not need assistance to deal with you, or have you forgotten that my mutant power gives me absolute power over the mass of both things and people? With each passing second, your mass doubles.
Does he have food in his mouth? Is that what...
He's he might be eating some chicken. Beg for mercy, Wolverine. Perhaps I will spare you. You can go to... Upstairs, the X-Men and their captors have been watching Wolverine's last stand on the television monitors. That should be the title of this episode. Wolverine's last stand. Holy Gamboli. David says, would be nice if there was some visual cue these pawns were amped up. You mean their red costume doesn't do enough for you?
Doesn't tell you?
Right. So, I mean, just to talk quick about it, even just maybe having what do you think? Like, knowing that you're not going to change too much, like you're not going to add a lot of work by designing some complicated stuff. Would you just add some Colossus style metal bands to maybe an arm or a leg? What do you think? What would you do? Maybe a couple of cables here or there? I'm interested to hear, David, like if you were to not change anything in the line art except for a couple tiny elements, what would you change? Might be interesting.
You maybe some Kirby crack around the fists or something, you know. So.
Is it like to say that they're kind of charged, that there's energy coming out of them? Yeah, maybe that might work.
The little man was something of a disappointment. I'd hoped to prolong his agony for days. Let this be a lesson to you, X-Men. Step out of line, and you'll suffer the same fate.
Wolverine? Dead? Sleep well, Tovarish. You will be avenged.
Why do they think he's dead?
Because he collapsed.
And Leland kind of says he's dead?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
While the X-Men reel in shock and disbelief, Amanda Sefton allows herself the slightest smile and continues to trace tiny mystic sigils in the air. Her movements masked by the bodies of her fellow prisoners while whispering ancient words of power. As far as she's concerned, all is going according to plan. So David has followed up here. Okay. He says, it could even have been a storytelling thing. Some panel where they looked like an overwhelming presence versus Wolverine. Yeah. Just having them like outsize him, you know, like having them in the foreground and having him be in the background and being, you know, changing the size like that way. But I'm guessing the art was handed in before Claremont thought of making them say they were stronger than before. That's very possible. But if you think about, there is definitely a distinction between them, because the ones that are red do not have all the shading on their muscles the way that the ones in blue do. The ones in blue are basically drawn as if they're like going to be dark with a highlight. And the ones in red are kind of plain as if they are not going to have a highlight. There is a distinction even in the inking stage, but not in the line, not in the design, but just in how they're rendered, I should say. Yes, Chris, what were you going to say?
I also like how Wolverine remembers it's Cole. He's like, Cole, you talk too flaming much, right? Like, it's like, last time I cut both you and your boys up. Oh, Cole, it's you again.
I imagine that's, you know, that says more about Claremont than it does about Wolverine. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, how do you draw? Like, think about, oh, hold on. Oh, my God, Zorro.
Not just
Zorro.
My
God, the Tarzan Lone Ranger.
Zorro.
Oh, yeah. So good. Some good Fat Albert there. Popeye and olive oil.
The Quickie Koala Show. Koala Show.
Trollkins, I do not remember.
Trollkins. Strange.
Black
They're
Star.
all the rage.
Cool. I want to watch Black Star as well. Nice.
Well, Black Star is like a Conan?
Yeah, sword and sorcery kind of stuff in space.
Kind of stuff. Okay.
Like Star Wars, Conan, put them together. Kids' toys.
Nice.
Yeah, let's do it. Now, Ororo in the Body of the White Queen is back in that leotard thing. Like she's in the cover.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a dance outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense because they were hanging out with Stevie Hunter. So maybe Stevie gave her a dance outfit.
Some extra, right. Because she was
Here
in
we
that.
go.
Yeah, exactly.
She's a dance instructor. A mile away.
The hangar is empty. No guards anywhere. The surface entrance is locked. I can disrupt the circuits by phasing through them. That'll probably set all sorts of alarms.
As if she doesn't know. Like, she knows the mansion. She knows the systems.
And she's the computer whiz.
Right. But I love that idea. Like, she gets to go in there first. And it's such a good thing having her as a scout. It's such a good power. Storm starts thinking, and again, in the body of the White Queen, I could unlock the door, but I have no way of reaching it. Kitty can reach it, but she lacks my skill as a thief. If there was only way of seeing through her eyes, perhaps there is. Hesitantly, she brushes her fingers across Kitty's forehead, reaching out with her mind. Kitty feels an immediate savage wrench within herself, and her world turns topsy-turvy inside out.
What are you doing? Get away from me!
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I was trying to establish a temporary psionic rapport between us.
Like Professor Xavier does when he wants to teach me stuff? I understand. But he knows what he's doing. He almost fried my brain.
Yeah. Again, Ororo tries. This time remembering how Jean Grey had described the process long ago. You totally relax, letting your thoughts gradually drift together, like the ebb and flow of a tide. Be one with the force, my friend. Never push, never force. Never force things to happen. Let the process evolve naturally. You'd be surprised at how easy it is when you need to use this in a comic after I'm dead, and it's essential to the plot that you can do it.
I'm not happy with this. I don't like the idea of anyone poking about inside my head. The longer I'm with Miss Frost, the more sure I become that she's really Ororo, and Ororo I trust with my soul.
Hearing this wayward thought, Ororo blinks tears from her eyes and gets to work. The job is a killer for both of them. Kitty worries about making a mistake and triggering the alarms, while Ororo is terrified of inadvertently, through ignorance or clumsiness, injuring or even destroying Kitty's mind. Again, good drawing of Kitty all stressed. I think that's a good one. I think he's a good artist. He should draw New Mutants. This requires total concentration, but I'm used to that kind of stress. The same sort of absolute control and focus is necessary when I manipulate the weather. Pardon us for disturbing you, young lady, but I do believe you're trespassing. Wind, blowing me off my feet. The White Queen, she's found me. Lightning, there's a huge storm brewing. Doesn't she realize it? Sebastian, look, it's Ororo. She's alive.
Excellent, my dear. But if she survived the wreck, it stands to reason that her brat did too. Where is Kitty Pryde? What?
Bless you, kitten. Your timing is perfect. Seal the hatch, Kitty. Shaw and the White Queen are right behind me.
Gotcha, Ororo.
Emergency close.
Emergency close. Return to the mansion, Emma, and take the unconscious Miss Hunter with you. Warn the others. I'll deal with this problem. Before you go, strike me with a lightning bolt. My mutant metabolism will absorb its kinetic energy, which should give me more than sufficient strength to rip this hatch out of the ground.
He's bad. Yeah. It's a mile from the hangar complex to the main house. That's huge, by the way. That's a big problem.
That's a long time.
Last Christmas, while being chased by a demon. While being chased by
fought an alien, a demon.
Yep. Kitty covered the distance in record time. Back in X-Men 143. Thanks, Louise. Tonight, she moves faster.
The rapport faded away, just like Ororo said it would. We're each on our own now. She stayed behind and tried to slow Shaw down. I hope she's okay. I'd better be careful myself. The guards have been alerted. They're looking for us. I wonder where they're holding the X-Men.
Come here, kid. Shush, short stuff. It's me.
Wolverine! But I heard a guard say you've been killed.
Funny. I heard some bozo make the same crack about you.
Oh, Logan, I'm so glad to see you.
Likewise.
Unknown to everyone, Amanda, a sorceress of no mean ability, cast a spell during the fight in the danger room, which gave Wolverine the appearance of death.
Ah.
Ignorant of her ability, the Hellfire Club has yet to realize anything's wrong. Interjection here. They could have basically killed Wolverine. It would be fine. Of course, now we know that he would have just healed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you could have it so that there's no pulse. Check for a pulse. Oh, he's dead. Move on.
Yeah.
Look, his guts are crushed.
Right?
Yes, his heart is crushed.
Heart is crushed.
And look, it's come out his nose. And he pooped his pants. He's done. And then they leave his body.
Coming out of the body.
Exactly. And they leave him for dead. And it'd be like totally fine. But, he got better. Here we go.
They're getting set to ship the X-Men out, Kitty. We got no time for anything fancy, so listen up. Here's what you're gonna do.
Enroll in the Marvel Subscribers Club.
Yeah. I always like that beefy Thor arm sticking out of that shack.
Yeah, looks good.
Yep. Her attack, a minute later, is as effective as it is direct. She simply phases through all of the prisoners, disrupting the electromagnetic locks on their inhibitor collars and releasing them.
Kitty! Hold still, Cyclops. I will soon have you free of your gimp mask.
I'm so glad you said that. I wanted to say it, but I just held my tongue.
Hey guys, miss me? Desperately catch them.
Enjoy your moment, heroes. It won't last long. All I need to do is increase your mass, enough to make it impossible for you to move.
The deployment may be effective against my friend's villain, but in my armored form, I am not to be held easily.
With but a thought, Colossus transmutes his body from flesh and blood to super strong organic steel and easily snaps his bonds. Strikes. Well, easily snapping his bonds, strikes. Before Harry Leland can recover, Nightcrawler teleports on top of him.
You may increase my mass all you wish, Herr Leland. This is for Wolverine's fine. Of course, okay, I read backwards. Of course, considering where I am, that might not be the brightest of moves. On the other hand, you aren't the brightest of people. And then, this is for Wolverine's fine. I was happy that he got to say fine.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that Nightcrawler.
Good panel.
Yeah, it's a good panel.
I have a hilarious print error kind of in mind. I'll just show you in a second.
Okay.
Moving with the speed born of years of practice, Cyclops dons a ruby quartz visor, the only thing capable of controlling his deadly optic blasts hidden in his belt. And together, he and Colossus make short work of their guards.
Cyclops, in the doorway, another one.
Leave him to me, Elf.
Wolverine, it can't be. You're alive.
Retractable, razor-sharp claws easily cut the guard's rifle to pieces. But the force of Wolverine's attack throws the X-Men momentarily off balance, which is all the opening his foe needs.
That situation can be easily remedied.
Wanna bet, Cole?
Go ahead, crazy man. Got me. You'll be doing me a mercy. All me and my partners live for was seeing you dead, Wolverine. If we can't have that, it's better to die ourselves.
Why? Because I cut you months ago? At the time you were trying to kill me, remember?
Yeah, and because of what you did, they made us freaks. Part human, but mostly machine.
Is that all? Man, you're pathetic. So what if you're bionic? There are worse fates. You're alive, Cole. A thinking, breathing, feeling man being. Sorry, feeling. Human being. A man being. A thinking, breathing, feeling human being. Or at least you're supposed to be. Artificial parts, mechanical limbs, can't take that essential humanity away. Just as flesh and blood can't give it to you. I could grant your wish, bub, but I won't. You aren't worth the effort. Hello there, Kevin from Toying Around.
Now, I just want to show you something quick in the issue I've got. So I got to just change the view, and I apologize, everybody. But in this copy,
yes,
right there.
Oh yeah, what is it?
Because these are photographed from the original pages, as opposed to copies of these. It says remove red line. So usually this would be is that on the artwork there might be a color hold, meaning that there might be a bit of the layout where there is no where the artist has gone in and added like red pencil or blue pencil to something, and they just want it removed. But I don't know where that would be. I'm looking at the copy that you've got here, and I do not see any color hold stuff.
No.
So who knows? There you go. To me, my ex-friends.
Just in time, Jason Lowe, to watch Wolverine not kill a dude.
An eloquent statement, Wolverine. Shall I carve it on your tombstone?
I like that line.
You can try, Shaw. Vamoose Crawler, you're no match for the big man.
Nor are you, madman. He'll snap your bones like rotten twigs. False. He will not.
She's right. We daren't attack Shaw directly. The harder we hit him, the stronger he gets. But if I can use my optic blast to shove him off balance into Peter's arms, done. Do it? Done it? Oh, done it. Colossus, a fastball special. Toss him into the lake.
So they're not outside. Keep that in mind. They just broke the wall.
Broke the wall.
Or is it... It's Ororo White Queen who just came through the wall?
Yeah, with Shaw.
With Shaw. I thought Shaw was already... But that's not an exterior wall, is it?
Well, I mean, I don't know. That's not a load.
Anyway.
That's not a load-bearing poster.
Jason says, give me that PG-rated violence.
Sweet, sweet PG-rated violence.
And I love, they use the phrase fastball special, but this isn't a fastball special.
No, it's Cyclops' version, so it's not quite as cool.
Right, he got it wrong. So Colossus should be like,
I'll
do what you say, but this is not fastball special, stupid.
With luck, he should burn off a fair chunk of his power just by swimming back to shore. And he'll be out of our hair long enough for us to deal with his compatriots. Servanda Ororo, I have no wish to hurt you.
I love the Nightcrawler moving through his teleportation.
Yeah,
it looks cool.
That's cool.
Coming out of his.
That's cool.
A pity, Nightcrawler, that the feeling isn't mutual. She zaps the shit out of him. Oh my God. Yeah. Suddenly.
By the White Wolf. The Witten.
It seems to come out of nowhere, smashing through the house like an elemental battering ram, sweeping both combatants and bystanders off their feet. And with the unnatural wind comes rain, a torrential monsoon, and lightning, massive bolts that gouge rough scars in the lawn, splinter-aged oaks, strike down a man. Wait a minute. Who do we know who that is?
Yes. We do.
Okay. Cool. Oh yeah, because the next panel she yells.
The next panel she says his name.
Shaw.
Do you think it was just like? Do you think it was like the X-Men's groundskeeper who was just like?
It was just some random guy. And we're gonna find out later. Like, in 20 more issues, it's like I'm the guy that you lightninged,
and now I'm living lightning. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it isn't possible. He's down. He isn't moving. No power on earth could do that. As I feared, the White Queen's indiscriminate use of my abilities has triggered a wild weather effect. The bolt that struck Shaw filled him with more raw energy than his system could assimilate. The overload has either stunned him or slain him. That seems inconsistent with how his powers have been described.
Sure.
Even within this issue, he asked to be struck by lightning earlier to power up. Anyway,
If this storm isn't brought under control quickly, we'll be the next to fall. I can sense Frost's terror. She's trying to reassert her mastery over the elements. But she's out of her depth. She doesn't really know how. You, get away! Don't! I must! Stop fighting me! Let me into your mind! I have been one with the wind since I was born. Let me guide you. Trust me, Frost. It's our only hope. Building bridges here. Look at that. That's amazing. Like working together. So good. Every Cockrum-esque page layout here, huh?
Yeah, very much.
These kinds of panels, we see a lot of that from him.
But it looks like the third and fourth one are the exact same. They've copied it. The Cyclops one is different, but the pose of Wolverine and Colossus are almost identical.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Anyway,
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. This is like I said, it's Cockrum-esque, but Cockrum is taking cues from Neil Adams. I mean, that's he's like the innovator of this kind of layout, and when he does it, it doesn't always work well. But this one reads real clear because there's no question which panel comes next. But he'll play a little bit when he does it, or back when. Despite herself, the White Queen cannot help resisting, but Aurora will not be denied as she ruthlessly, brutally forces the psionic rapport. A spear of fire punches through both women's brains. Ooh, that's graphic. Accompanied by a sickening sense of disorientation as a gust of wind swirls them high into the sky. Thunder rumbles across the land. Lightning explodes before their eyes. Rain chills them to the marrow. But slowly, gradually, Ororo reduces the tempest to a semblance of normalcy. That battle over, another begins. Ororo has the Persona Exchange module. Existence and location picked from the White Queen's thoughts during their scuffle in the forest. She means to use it. The White Queen means to stop her at any cost.
They're over the lake. Look, the Frost Woman is falling. My friends cannot reach her.
Maybe move your feet there, buddy. The kid told me what happened. Frost switched minds with Storm. Ororo must be fighting to reverse the process. But did she succeed? Is that the White Queen fallen or Storm? For tense, terrible seconds, the outcome is in doubt. And then, got you. Part of me wanted to let you drop, bitch. But there you are, Miss Frost, on dry land, all safe and sound, bitch. By morning, the storm you inadvertently created will be no more than a memory. And so will you. And so, Wind Rider, will you. You wield your powers with consummate skill, but so do I. I know your mind as well as I know my own. You cannot resist my telepathic assault. Once, O Majesty of Evil, that may have been so, but no longer. I love the lightning hair. She zapped her really, really good.
Oh, yeah.
And then she's like used her powers to incinerate the clothing too.
Sure, right.
You made me your slave, your unwitting puppet. You used me. You used me, Skinner. But from this instant,
there's no such thing as Scotchtoberfest.
I am free.
Ororo? Professor, I'm frightened. She doesn't look human. She's like a real goddess.
Someone that's who's that on the ground?
It's Cyclops, I think.
Someone give me a hand. Shaw's powers saved him from being burned, but he's barely breathing. So
help me choke him out.
Yeah, help me choke him,
like
guys. Get them. It's like you should have been like Colossus. Go get that pillow from your bed. You know the one. We're gonna do Shaw real old school, like Question here, and I'm glad there's some other X people in the chat because
Yeah.
I'm curious about this depiction of Storm, and as a like Kitty says, she's like a real goddess.
Right.
Do you ever explore a Storm? Is there a version of Storm where, in fact, or storyline from this point moving forward to the current day, where maybe her power set is maybe she's not a mutant, maybe she's an actual god.
Okay, we've got so many fun things coming for you, buddy.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. We're going to read an amazing annual where, firstly, Art Adams does the artwork.
Oh, so that's good.
But Thor takes her to Asgard, and she's like the goddess of lightning and thunder.
Okay.
And the cover is a recreation of Thor's first appearance, where it's her in his place.
Right.
So there is lots of talk about her being a storm goddess as things move forward. And David's absolutely right. Really leaning into the Rogue Storm at this point, just like we saw a couple issues ago in the battle with Doctor Doom.
Okay.
But it's sort of like a reminder of that thing.
Right. Okay.
Jason says was going to mention that annual. I want to say it's X-Men Annual 11. Off the top of my head, that's my guess, but I might be wrong. Yeah, some Art Adams stuff. It's it's quintessential Art Adams X-Men from the 80s. Very cool.
Okay. Well, thank you, chat, for chiming in and answering my question. I appreciate
and there might be some more that the guys are going to mention here. Hear me, Emma Frost. As a child, I swore never again to kill, but tonight I'll break that vow. You have committed a heinous, unforgivable crime. In stealing my body, you perverted a trust as old as the earth itself. You will pay for that. In blood.
Oh, there it is.
Ororo, no! Stand aside, Wolverine! And watch you destroy yourself, not flaming likely. Anyone can kill Princess. It's easy. I know. What takes courage and strength, what separates the humans from the animals, is not killing. I'm a huge hypocrite. Listen to me.
I talk about killing guys every issue, but don't you do it.
Some people are warriors, darling, born to kill. That's me. And some exist to show us there's a better way. That's you. And it comes with a free Frogurt. That's good. But the Frogurt contains potassium benzoate. That's bad.
That's bad.
There's so much beauty in you, Ororo. It'd be a shame to spoil it for the likes of her. That's bad. It's strange hearing such philosophy from your lips, my friend. But your point is well taken.
Shall I call the police?
No, kitten. We cannot expose the Hellfire Club without exposing ourselves. Ooh, ironic. But neither can they expose us. In our mutual fear of discovery lies mutual safety. Is that not so, Emma? I'll keep silent, Ororo. You have my word that you totally can't trust. The inner circle, the secret, evil heart of the Hellfire Club is nothing without Shaw. Until he recovers, if he recovers, you have nothing to fear from us. And Kitty Pryde? You want the brat? To the victors go the spoils. But I swear, Windrider, with all my heart and soul,
so if
that though we've hold on.
Okay.
That though we've lost this battle, the war between us shall not end until the X-Men are both dead and damned. And I'm really grateful there isn't a telepath on your side of things right there to hear my thoughts. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, we had the first Ron Burgundy conversation earlier about Shaw sounding a little bit like Burgundy. And this is the line that Vince Vaughn says, I hate you, Ron Burgundy. I hate you with my heart and soul, Ron Burgundy. I hate you, Storm, with all my heart and soul.
Like, they really should have just killed these two. Oh my goodness. Next issue, Cockrum returns with the zaniest, farthest out, most heart-rending story of the year. Join us once upon a time in 30 days for Kitty's Fairy Tale.
Ooh.
Jason says, and she becomes an Omega level mutant too.
What does that mean?
Right, exactly. That is a term that people throw around a lot more now, that they've sort of established that there are kind of ranks to mutant power.
Alpha, betas,
and
gammas,
Omegas. Yeah, and obviously Omega level mutant is sort of like the most powerful.
Yeah.
And so somebody like who we would think upon a time, once upon a time is not very powerful, like Iceman, is like later revealed to be way more powerful as like he matures, and as different writers need to make their version of characters unique. Okay. People have been playing with these toys for 60, 70, 80 years, pardon me, and they keep trying to like not just sell us old rope, but tell us that it's not a rope, it's actually this, or just change it around to give us something, an original spin. And so lots of characters get powered up over the decades. There are certain versions, and like Jason, you can tell us a little bit about this, of course, because I know she's one of your favorite characters. Like Jubilee, when I first saw her, she would shoot sparkles, and there was nothing else to that. Just it's sparkles, it's fireworks, but there's no real power to it. Just like a distraction. But I think she's changed a lot too. Oh, he puts it in your terms. Look at that. He says if she was a Pokemon.
Oh, that's thank you. That's good. I know what that means now. Perfect.
David says Annual 9, I think, but she has no powers of her own in the story. Loki gives them back to her for a time. That's right. It's during the stretch where her powers are gone. Do you know about that, Chris? About Storm losing her powers? Oh, well,
But I'm going to know about it, I guess.
I mean, I think everyone for a stretch loses powers, right? That's totally normal.
Sure.
So we shall see, of course. X-Men. And I'm looking up the cover because I want to see that beautiful cover. Oh yeah, that's number 9. Thank you, David. So good. So good. I'm very excited to read that one down the road. Yeah, there you go, man. Cool. Is there anything left in this issue, like a letter column or something like that?
Let me double check. The Ororo strikes back. That's pretty cool.
Look at that.
Nope. Some Lego.
So it's back to you and me.
It is back to you and I.
So I know that you weren't a big fan of that issue. There were all sorts of things I liked in it. I liked that it wrapped up.
Well, I would have liked if there was. The thing I liked about it was the potential reveal of like, and that we just talked about. I was like, oh, can Storm level up? Like, can we talk about her in maybe a different space? Which it sounds like they take her character into. So that's interesting.
Yeah, she's going to go through the. I mean, you could argue between now and the end of Claremont's run, she probably goes through the largest character arc. Other than maybe like the Magneto stuff that he's trying to do, but in terms of the team members, she has a great journey.
Mm-hmm.
So Jason says Jubilee's powers are fireworks because she's trying to control them from being any more destructive. She is able to kill people with them, but she's too caring and compassionate to ever murder anyone. Cop out. I'm not suggesting that she isn't powerful. I'm just saying that when the character is first created, there wasn't an indication that there was more to her. That, like, in terms of the spectrum of powers on the team, when Silvestri first draws her, and the X-Men meet her.
What's the how
she's not an Omega level mutant when we first meet her,
And how soon is it before she's created that she becomes like one of the main characters in the cartoon? Like, is it like is she created and then used almost right away to be like the kid Link? Do you know what I mean? Or does she have like 5 years of comics history before that happens?
Just about. So the cartoon is 92, and she comes in maybe 88, 89.
Okay.
88, I want to say. We give her 4 years at least. And, I mean, I don't want to spoil what's going to happen, but basically she gets rescued, kind of adopted almost by the X-Men, who are the Outback X-Men at the time, and she kind of has nowhere else to go. So they take her with them to Australia through the portal that they use, or the gateway. and she lives with them. And then when shit hits the fan, or does she sneak through the portal? Pardon me, I think she sneaks through, and she has rescues Wolverine from the Reavers, from Cole and those guys.
Cole comes back.
And the two of them become like a bit of a duo, like a bit of a pair, where he looks out for her and they go on some adventures. Yeah. So Jason says it was hinted at early that she has more power than was displayed in the cartoon. I guess I've forgotten that. I'll get there eventually as I'm doing my read through too. And David says the out of nowhere brain swapping gun is Goofball City. Totally. I mean, that's the kind of thing, if you know you're going to do this run, like maybe you have 4 issues ago, there's a robbery at like a SHIELD scientist, a SHIELD lab.
Fantastic. The fantastic. Baxter building.
Sure. Like a key piece of technology. And then you have like, they try it out on 2 other people in 3 issues ago. And then 2 issues ago, they use it. Like you build up to that, because it's, it would mean more if it wasn't just, I have all this tech of swapping entire consciousness. Like usually there are whole, computer in comics, there are computers that take up a whole room and all that lab gear. Like you need to bring someone to your apparatus to be able to do this. But to have it just in the gun is like, okay, it's inconsistent even within the logic of these superhero comics. So it's a little bit, it is Goofball City. I agree. A little too convenient. I would have preferred if it was actually some power she'd been experimenting with. Like she's been developing a piece of hardware to enhance, like a Cerebro of her own, right? Like that would have been, a little bit more okay. And then they have to Kitty has to modify. Oh, here you go. You got to go on her they have to use.
She's the tech
Professor Xavier and Kitty to go inside of Emma Frost's brain to get the specs from the thing. Then they have to modify Cerebro to, there's a way to do this and make it good. Just ask us next time, Chris. Yeah, she's the 90 generation of Kitty for sure, but a little more brash and less privileged. And she's just, again, I don't ever want to yuck on someone's yum, and I know that she means a lot to you. And just, flip that backwards.
You don't want to yum.
I know you don't want to yum on my yuck, but the brashness of her character, the way that Claremont writes her, and the way the others writers write her voice, it was the exact opposite of what I wanted to read when I was 15. So she was like one of the reasons I stopped reading, because I couldn't stand her commentary and questioning and her dialogue. It was like really not for me at 15, but I get that for other people, she's a meaningful character. And when I get to that part in the read through, I'm going to try to put myself in a different position. And my daughter and I watch the show every week. So getting to sort of see Jubilee through her eyes it has been very helpful. The characters that we make most fun of when we watch the cartoon is actually Storm. We just, by the winter winds, we're just always, whenever Storm has one of those lines,
her dialogue was out of control.
We repeat her lines and we just laugh our butts off. So she's a tough one. Jubilee's snottiness is why I liked her. See, you like snot. Exactly. That's why your middle name is secretly Booger. But yeah, I don't know. I can see that some people are going to get into that when they read that character at a certain age. And for me, I just wanted all Wolverine all the time, right? Like no talking. I wanted, silent adventures with Wolverine gutting the Reavers. I still got to get that Bone Crusher baff. Got to work on that. There's a toy show coming up in February, and Kevin and I are going to both be there, and DK, and we're going to get a table. I'm going to be at that thing. I can try and hunt.
Where and when is it?
If February, I wanted to say 19th at the top of my head. I'm not sure exactly. It'll be at a hotel, like convention hall in Mississauga. Halfway between your place and my place.
And is it just like correct? Is it like a big garage sale? Because you're not vendor. You're not like, you're not like. I mean, you're probably bringing your stuff, and people are bringing stuff. But does that bring like collectors, but also selling to each other and fans coming?
Yes, it'll be something where
okay,
David's going. you said we. I'm hoping you meet you and Jason, and I really hope that we all get to see each other there. It'll be really awesome. Chris, you should come too. It's like a good way to spend. Bring Harry or Penny or whoever, and buy some cheap action figures. It's kind of fun. So there'll be vendors that have people, the collectors that sell their collection. Retailers will have some stuff there too,
right.
And people that have like web stores, will bring their merch. And lots of collectors and fans will be there too. It's usually fun. It's my joke about it is like, if you go to that once a year, think of it like you'll get to see every Star Wars toy that there is, kind of. And if you look at it like that's your collection, you're just paying your annual fee on your storage unit to see your collection. Like, oh, today I get to go through my archive today,
right?
And you'll see, the vehicles.
Yeah, man. Send me
and all the figures.
The dates.
And,
sounds like fun.
Yeah, it'll be good. I've been going through my collection and figuring what stuff I can pull, like stuff that's still in package and everything. So it'll be a fun afternoon.
So it'll be both things in package and loose items as well.
Yeah, I'll have a bin full of Marvel Legends that I'm okay to part with, and I'll have some stuff still in box, some BAF pieces for sale that I'm not using, and some G.I. Joes, some Star Wars, probably some prints to sell. Why not? We'll see what I can sell. Gotta make back those table fees and pick up a couple more things. Hopefully, I gotta get that Bone Crusher BAF. It's essential for me, so gotta figure it out. David says, yeah, treat it like a walk through a toy museum. That's right. It's fun. It's a lot of fun to do. Yeah, there you go, Chris, man.
Cool.
So next week, you're not going to be here.
No.
But I have special guest, Toronto musician and singer-songwriter Graydon James of The Young Novelists and The Bad Apples will be my co-pilot for Tuesday night next week, and we're going to be reading that special issue where Kitty Pryde is telling a fairy tale. It is a kind of a well-known issue, which is a huge step to the left, and we'll see if it's good or not. And Graydon has been a long time viewer of the show, and an old friend of mine and a great guy. So I'm excited to do a little bit of this with him. And he's the one who gave me the advice of, if you're on the replay, watching our show at a faster speed. And since he's given me the advice of watching it, whether it's 1.5 or 1.25, I started watching way more YouTube stuff faster, and I'm really enjoying it. Getting through more content faster.
That's great.
So, let's go. Want to plug anything before we call it a night?
No, we talked about the collector card set at the beginning. I'm starting to see show announcements coming out a little bit just for 2023. Today, Toronto Comic-Con just released their first guest in terms of like a celebrity guest. Comic information is forthcoming. TCAF today started. The Toronto Comic Arts Festival just started releasing its special guests today. So we will share more information about where and when you can come see us in person in whatever cities that we happen to get to. Be fantastic. I will say too, as you always say, please folks subscribe, like all those pieces. We crossed 4,000 views on the channel. That's kind of cool. I like numbers. I like milestones of that. It doesn't mean a whole lot, but at the same time, it's kind of fun to think that. So I just plug that, share it with your friends. Tell them to watch it on 1.5 speed or whatever it happens to be. No, and that's it. That's it in terms of plugging anything. You got anything to plug?
That's all perfect. Thank you very much for doing that. I appreciate it.
No worries.
Hey, who did they announce for Toronto Comic-Con?
One person. Celebrity.
Okay.
The Armorer from Mando.
Is that what that was? I saw that. I didn't.
Emily Swallow, I think is her name.
Yes.
The actor, and so Emily Swallow. So she is the first guest announced.
No, I was hoping
celebrity
comic book stuff
for Comic-Con. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Hopefully we get to be there.
I hope so. Well, I'll be there one way or the other, I'm sure.
Fair enough.
If I have to sneak in, I'll sneak in. Fight those guards.
That's right.
Punch them. I know where to punch someone now. In their yeasty Their yeasty underdough. I don't know. What did I call it? I don't know what it was. Anyway.
Like when a pizza, it's like when in the middle of the bread, when it doesn't rise.
Mm.
It's like all doughy.
You're making me hungry. Chris, thank you for doing this tonight. It's been a lot of fun hanging with you and reading X-Men 152.
Yeah, and we start a brand new year, publication year next year, or next episode.
Yes.
1982.
Well, those are yes. I'm looking forward to that. And we got some cool X-Men spin-off stuff to be covering in the near future as well.
Yeah, and I will be back for episode 64, which is issue 154. Looking forward to that.
Very cool. Everyone, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. It's really good to see you, and we're really good. We're really happy we get to share these things with you. So hopefully we'll see you all soon. Chris, X-Men.
X-Men.
That's all I got to say, X-Men.
X people.
Cheers, everybody.
Have a good night.